He was stuck in traffic when he spotted a woman by the roadside. But when he looked closer, he realized she once fed him when he had nothing. Rishabh Malhotra sat in the back seat of his luxury car, glancing absent-mindedly out the tinted window. He was on his way to yet another investor meeting, dressed sharp, phone buzzing every few seconds. Life as a self-made millionaire was non-stop. Fast cars, faster deals, and no time to look back. But that day, traffic halted near a busy street corner. And for once, he looked. There she was, under the burning sun, seated on a tattered mat, arranging vegetables into neat little piles on a torn blue sheet. Her sari was faded, her hands calloused, but her eyes, still gentle, still kind, made his chest tighten. No, it can't be her, he whispered to himself. He rolled down the window for a better look. And then it hit him. It was Amma, the woman who ran a tiny food stall in the alley behind his college. The one who used to give him extra rotis when he couldn't afford a full meal. The one who never asked for money when she knew he was broke, only saying, "Beta, eat now. Pay later, or don't. Just don't stay hungry." He hadn't seen her in nearly a decade, and now the woman who once fed him out of compassion was selling vegetables on the roadside, barely making a living. Rishabh's heart sank. But this time, he wasn't going to stay behind a car window. Rishabh opened the car door without a second thought, ignoring the confused look from his driver and the honks from behind. He walked across the hot pavement, dodging scooters and street vendors, his expensive shoes now covered in dust. As he approached, she didn't look up, too focused on weighing a handful of tomatoes for a customer. "Amma," he said softly. She paused. Slowly, she looked up, eyes squinting in the harsh light, trying to place the well-dressed man in front of her. "It's me," he added. "Rishabh, from Saraswati Lane. You used to feed me dal chawal every other day." Her eyes widened. The tomatoes dropped from her hand. "Rishu?" she whispered, her voice trembling. Tears instantly welled up in her eyes. She reached out with her weathered hand and cupped his cheek, like she used to when he was a skinny, tired student carrying borrowed books and dreams far too heavy for his age. "You've grown so much," she murmured. "I saw your photo in the newspaper once. Thought, maybe I was wrong." Rishabh swallowed hard, his throat aching. "Why didn't you tell anyone where you went? What happened to your stall?" She smiled faintly. "Lost the space. Rent doubled. My legs aren't what they used to be. So, I just started selling vegetables here. It's honest work. No shame in that." "No shame?" he repeated, voice thick. "You fed me when I couldn't pay. You gave me food with a smile, warmth with every bite. And now you're sitting here, struggling alone?" Amma shook her head gently. "I never expected anything, Beta. I was just glad you kept going." Rishabh bent down beside her, uncaring of the stares. "Well, now it's my turn." She blinked, confused. "What do you mean?" He looked her straight in the eyes and said, "I'm not leaving this road until I take you off it." Crowds had begun to gather, curious to see a man in a tailored blazer kneeling beside an old vegetable seller with tears in his eyes. Some pulled out phones. Others whispered, unsure of what they were witnessing. But Rishabh didn't care. He sat down beside Amma, brushing away the dirt from the edge of the mat. "You're not selling vegetables anymore," he said gently. "Not here. Not like this." Amma looked alarmed. "Beta, I'm not begging. I work. I earn." "I know," he said, placing a hand over hers. "And now I'm going to honor that work." He pulled out his phone and called his assistant. "Clear my afternoon," he said, "and transfer funds to open a new food stall on Banner Lane, fully equipped, licensed, custom signage. And get me the best team to help run it." He hung up and turned back to Amma. "You're opening Amma's Rasway again. But this time, It won't be in a dark alley. It'll be in the heart of the city." Amma covered her mouth with her hand, speechless. "Why would you do all this?" He looked at her with deep sincerity. "Because you fed me when no one else did. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And you never asked for anything back. But Amma, you deserve the world." The small crowd, moved by what they heard, began to applaud softly. A few even wiped their eyes. Someone handed Amma a bottle of water. A young girl whispered, "Who is he?" And an older vendor smiled and said, "Someone who didn't forget where he came from." That day, news of the roadside reunion went viral. Millionaire rebuilds life of woman who once fed him as a broke student. She gave him meals. He gave her a legacy. But for Amma and Rishabh, it wasn't about headlines. It was about something that couldn't be bought or sold. Gratitude. 2 weeks later, the city gathered for the grand opening of Amma's Rasoi, a brand new food stall designed like a small cafe, with tiled counters, seating benches, a gleaming signboard, and one warm-hearted woman at the center of it all. Amma stood behind the counter in a freshly pressed sari, her silver hair neatly tied, her smile brighter than the morning sun. Customers lined up for her signature dal chawal and stuffed parathas, recipes she once served to hungry students for free. This time, she was the center of admiration, not sympathy. Rishabh stood at a quiet corner, watching it all unfold. No press conference, no ribbon-cutting speech, just Amma, serving food like she always had, but with dignity, honor, and pride. Later that day, as the rush slowed down, she walked over to him and handed him a plate. "I made this one myself, like the old days." He took it with both hands, almost too moved to speak. "It tastes even better now," he said after the first bite. She chuckled. "It's the same dal, beta. Just more eyes watching." He looked around and smiled. "The world finally sees what I've always known. You're not just a cook. You're a caretaker, a teacher, a mother to anyone who's ever felt unseen." Amma touched his cheek gently. "And you, Rishu, you didn't just become a rich man. You became a good man. That matters more." Weeks later, Amma's Rasoi had 3 outlets. Her photo, standing with folded hands beside her food, hung in hundreds of kitchens as a symbol of strength and selflessness. Rishabh continued to grow his empire, but every Sunday without fail, he'd visit Amma's Rasoi. Not as a CEO, but as a boy who never forgot the hand that once fed him. Because sometimes, the richest moments aren't found in boardrooms, but on broken footpaths, beside a bowl of hot dal, and in the quiet power of a thank you that came years later, but just in time.